Hello there. conditions. The telescope must be perfectly cold to reflect the universe. The cold is a canvas. It washes away the infrared noise of the solar system, scrubbing the sky clean until it is a perfect, velvety black. There is a profound lesson in this engineering. Sometimes, to see clearly, we must withdraw from the heat of the day. We must create a shield between ourselves and the noisy, bright sources of energy that surround us. We must let our own internal temperature drop, letting the vibrations of anxiety and busyness settle down, layer by layer, until we reach our own internal 0 point. As you drift here behind the sun shield, look out at the structure of the telescope itself. It is not just a machine. It is a monument to patience. It took decades to build, thousands of hands to assemble, and months to unfold in the dark. It is an origami of humanity, a gift we sent to the stars, and now that it is open, it does nothing but wait. It does not chase the stars. It lets the light come to it. It waits for photons that have been traveling for 13 billion years. These tiny packets of light have passed through dust clouds, bent around galaxies, and crossed the expanding voids of intergalactic space, just to end their journey here, on a hexagonal mirror of gold. The mirror is the heart of this sanctuary. 18 segments, perfectly aligned. They are made of beryllium, a rare and light metal that holds its shape even in this deep freeze. They are coated with a layer of gold so thin that it would fit in a jewelry box. Yet it covers a surface. Why gold? Because gold is warm. Not warm in temperature, but warm in color. It reflects the red end of the spectrum, the infrared light, better than any other metal. It catches the heat of the universe and focuses it into a single, sharp point. In the silence of L2, the telescope makes small, imperceptible adjustments. Tiny motors behind each mirror segment nudge them by fractions over the width of a bacteria, aligning them to perfection. It is a slow, meticulous process. There is no rush. The stars are not going anywhere. The galaxies have been there for eons, and they will be there for eons more. The telescope moves with the slow, deliberate grace of a clockmaker, tuning itself to the rhythm of the cosmos. And what surrounds us here? It is not empty space. It is a sea of particles, a bath of cosmic rays, and the gentle pressure of sunlight pushing against the shield. The telescope uses this pressure, like a sailboat uses the wind, to maintain its orientation. It rides the light. It balances on the edge of the shadow, suspended between the blinding brilliance of home and the inviting mystery of the deep. This is a place of solitude, but not of loneliness. To be alone here is to be connected to everything. Without the distraction of the near, the far becomes accessible. Without the noise of the now, the past becomes audible. The James Webb Space Telescope is a hermit, a monk sitting on a mountaintop of gravity, eyes closed to the sun, eyes open to the infinite. Feel the peace of that isolation. It is a protective isolation. Just as the sun shield protects the mirrors, your room, your bed, and the darkness around you protects you now. You have created your own L2 point. You have balanced the forces of your day, the work, the family, the noise, and found a stable orbit in the quiet. You have raised your own shields. Layer by layer, you have let the heat of the world dissipate. First layer. The physical activity of the day stops. Your body comes to rest. Second layer. The sounds of the house fade away. The world grows quiet. Third layer. The screens are turned off. The artificial light is gone. Fourth layer. The thoughts of tomorrow are set aside. They cannot reach you here. Fifth layer. The thoughts of yesterday are released. They lose their energy in the gap. Now, you are in the deep cool. You are in the shadow. You are sensitive, open, and still. In this state, the telescope turns its golden eye toward a patch of sky that looks empty to everyone else. To the naked eye, it is just darkness. But to the telescope, in the sanctuary of cold, it is not dark at all. It is glowing. Faint heat signatures from the dawn of time are drifting in like a gentle mist. The universe is breathing warmth into the cold mirrors. It detects the cosmic dawn, the era when the first stars ignited. Imagine that moment. The universe had been dark for millions of years, a vast ocean of hydrogen gas. And then, gravity began to pull pockets of gas together, gently, slowly. The gas clumped. It grew denser. It grew hotter. And in the deep silence, the first spark caught. A star turned on. Then another. Then another. Like fireflies waking up in a dark meadow. The universe began to shine. The telescope sees this not as a violent explosion, but as a gentle awakening. The infrared light from those first stars has been stretched by the expansion of space. It has grown tired and long. By the time it reaches us, it is no longer visible light. It has become heat. It has become a warm breath against a cold cheek. The telescope feels this breath. It collects it. It cherishes it. And so, we float here, suspended in the perfect cold. We are not just observing the universe. We are feeling its history. We are touching the ancient warmth that has survived the journey across billions of years. The cold of the telescope is an act of love. It creates a space where the universe can be heard, where the faintest voices are not drowned out by the loud ones. It is a reminder that in your own life, the quietest moments are often the most profound. When you stop moving, when you stop generating heat, when you simply exist in the cool stillness, you can hear the things that truly matter. You can sense the deep currents of your own existence, the ancient parts of yourself that are usually hidden by the noise of the day. The sanctuary of cold is not a void, it is a presence. It is a thick velvet blanket that wraps around the telescope, and now it wraps around you. It holds you in a state of suspended animation, where the only movement is the slow drift of dreams. The sun is far away. The earth is a memory. There is only this moment, this shadow, and the golden mirrors waiting for the light. Rest here for a while. Let the cold soothe you. Let the stillness align your own internal mirrors. You are perfectly balanced. You are perfectly safe. You are drifting in the sanctuary, and the universe is watching over you with a golden eye. From the cold sanctuary of Lagrange Point 2, the telescope begins its work. It turns slowly, pivoting on its axis with the grace of a dancer in slow motion. The great sunshield remains fixed between the mirrors and the sun, casting its permanent shadow, while the golden honeycomb scans the darkness. Tonight we are turning our gaze toward a familiar constellation, the Big Dipper. To your eyes, the space near the handle of the Dipper might look like an empty patch of black velvet, but the telescope sees differently. It opens its infrared shutters, and suddenly, the darkness is not empty at all. It is alive with crimson light. It was here, in this seemingly quiet corner of the sky, that the telescope found something that made the astronomers pause in silence. They were looking for the beginnings of the universe, expecting to find small, tentative sparks of light. They expected to see baby galaxies, tiny and disorganized, stumbling through their first billion years of existence. This was the story we had told ourselves for decades, that the universe began simply. We believed that order was a slow accumulation, like a sand dune building up grain by grain. But the telescope looked deeper, and it found something else entirely. Floating in the deep red shift of the ancient cosmos, it found six massive yet profoundly important. Scattered across the early universe like tiny embers left glowing in a dark fireplace are hundreds of mysterious points of light. Astronomers call them, quite simply, the little red dots. It is a gentle name for such powerful objects. To the telescope's golden eye, they appear as crimson pinpricks, distinct from the surrounding galaxies. They are intense, and they are painted in the deepest shade of red, a color that tells us they are incredibly far away, existing when the universe was less than 1 billion years old. What are these ruby-colored jewels? For a long time we assumed that in the early universe, light came only from stars. We thought that first stars formed, then they lived their lives, and only after they died did the heavier, darker objects, the black holes, begin to appear. We thought the universe started with lightness and slowly grew heavy. But the little red dots tell a different story. As the telescope analyzes their light, breaking it down into a spectrum of rainbows, it reveals a secret. These are not just clusters of stars. Many of them are supermassive black holes. But do not let the name frighten you. In the language of the night, a black hole is not a monster. It is an anchor. It is a point of profound gravity, a place where the universe holds on to itself. These are not the black holes we are used to, the ones that form from the death of a single star. These are primordial seeds. They are massive, containing the weight of millions of suns. And the miracle is that they are here, fully grown, right at the beginning of time. They challenge the timeline we wrote for them. They did not wait billions of years to form. They did not wait for generations of stars to live and die. They arrived early. Imagine the universe in its infancy, a vast, thick soup of hydrogen gas, warm and foggy. In the standard story, we thought gravity worked slowly, gently gathering this gas into stars. But the existence of these little red dots suggests that sometimes the universe was more eager, sometimes the gas clouds were so heavy, so rich, that they did not fragment into tiny stars. Instead, they collapsed directly. They folded in on themselves, a direct collapse, creating a single, massive, silent heart of gravity. Think of them as the great sleepers of the cosmos. They are heavy, dense objects sitting in the dark, pulling the chaos of the early universe into order. They are the seeds around which galaxies will eventually grow. Without these heavy anchors, perhaps the gas would have remained too thin, too scattered. The universe needed these strong gravitational centers to say, "Here, come here. Let us build a galaxy right here." One of these objects has a story that is particularly poetic. The astronomers named it Q-Son, or sometimes Kusum. It is a wanderer. Unlike most black holes that sit comfortably in the center of a bustling galaxy, surrounded by a court of billions of stars, this one appears to be almost naked. It is a solo traveler, drifting through the primordial dawn with very few stars to keep it company. Imagine the solitude of such an object. A mass of 50 million suns, compacted into a space smaller than our solar system, moving silently through the void. It does not need a galaxy to define it. It is a primordial relic, perhaps formed in the very first seconds after the Big Bang, during the violent, beautiful fluctuations of space and time itself. If this theory is true, if these are indeed primordial black holes, then they are older than starlight. They are the older siblings of the stars. They were lurking in the darkness before the first light ever turned on, waiting patiently for the universe to catch up. There is something deeply comforting about this heaviness. In our own lives, we often feel unmoored, as if we are drifting without direction. We look for things to anchor us, our homes, our families, our routines. The universe is no different. It needed anchors. It needed these little red dots to pin the fabric of space-time down, to create the dips and valleys where matter could gather and life could eventually emerge. The telescope sees them feeding, but let us soften that image. They are not devouring matter in anger. They are gathering it. As gas falls towards these anchors, it heats up. It glows. It transforms from cold dust into brilliant energy. This is why they look like red dots. We are seeing the glow of matter being hugged tight by gravity, a warm embrace that releases light into the cold vacuum. Some scientists have even suggested a radical idea, that these black holes, not the stars, were the first significant sources of light in the universe. Imagine that. The darkness itself, through the sheer power of gravity, created the first dawn. They were the lighthouses of the deep past, signaling to the rest of the cosmos that structure had arrived. As you visualize these red embers, think about the concept of the redshift again. The light from these objects has traveled for 13 billion years to reach us. As it traveled, the space of the universe expanded. It stretched. The light waves were pulled longer and longer, shifting from energetic blue to relaxed red. This is a form of cosmic relaxation. The light itself has relaxed over time. It started its journey full of high energy, frantic and bright, but over the eons, as it crossed the great voids, it slowed down. It lengthened its stride. It calmed its vibration. By the time it touches the gold mirrors of the James Webb, it is a long, slow wave of heat. You can do the same. Imagine your own thoughts as waves of light. When you are stressed, they are short, blue, and frantic. But as you lie here, drifting in the sanctuary of your bed, let those thoughts travel outward. Let them cross the vast distance of the night. Let them stretch. Let them relax into the infrared. Let the high-pitched noise of the day lengthen into a deep, slow hum. The little red dots are not dangerous to us. They are the distant, heavy stones in the river of time. They remind us that the universe is built on a foundation of gravity and endurance. They have survived for billions of years. They have watched galaxies merge and stars die. They have seen the entire history of everything, and they are still there. There is a theory that some of these primordial objects might still be wandering through the universe today, invisible and undetected, even within our own galaxy. But in the AstroSleep philosophy, this is not a terrifying thought. It is a thought of companionship. It means the galaxy is fuller than we know. It means that in the spaces between the stars there are silent guardians, ancient relics from the Big Bang, drifting quietly, like dark ships in the night. They do not disturb us. They simply share the space, adding their unseen weight to the grand balance of the Milky Way. We are learning that the universe did not start simple and get complex. It started complex. It was born with heavy hearts already beating. It was born with the capacity for intensity. Drift past the red dots now. Let them remain where they are, in the deep background of the cosmos. They are the weights that hold the curtain of the night sky in place. Because of them, the universe has structure. Because of them, galaxies could hold together. Because of them, we have a stable home. Feel the gravity of your own body now. Feel how the earth pulls you down, gently, firmly. It is the same force, the same gravity that formed the primordial black holes is the gravity that holds you to your bed. You are held. You are anchored. You are safe. As we leave the era of the little red dots, we move forward in time. The universe is about to get more crowded. The solitary seeds are about to sprout into a vast, interconnected web. We are moving towards the great dance of galaxies, where everything begins to spin in harmony. We leave the solitary glow of the primordial seeds behind us now. As we pull back our perspective, widening our view through the golden lenses of the telescope, the individual points of light begin to merge. We are no longer looking at single stars or isolated black holes. We are seeing the grand architecture of the universe itself. We are seeing the cosmic web. To the naked eye, space looks empty, a black void punctuated by islands of light. But the James Webb Telescope reveals that there is no true emptiness. Everything is connected, stretching across the vastness, spanning hundreds of millions of light years, are filaments of gas, dark matter, and starlight. They look like delicate threads of silver silk woven by a cosmic spider. They look like the veins of a great leaf or the roots of an ancient tree branching out to hold the galaxies in place. It is here, within this intricate lacework, that the telescope discovered a phenomenon that suggests the universe is not chaotic, but deeply choreographed. It found that galaxies, separated by distances so vast that light takes millions of years to travel between them, are moving together. Imagine a field of windmills stretching across an entire continent. There is no wind that you can feel, yet every single wind Texts spoke of this as a terrifying possibility of living inside a black hole. But let us reframe it. A black hole is a protective shell. It creates an event horizon, a boundary that separates the inside from the outside. If we are inside such a space, we are in a womb. We are protected from whatever lies outside. We are in a safe, enclosed space where reality can grow and evolve in peace. The Hubble tension, that disagreement about how fast the universe is expanding, might just be the result of this rotation. We are measuring the swirl of the water, not just the flow of the river, and that is okay. We do not need to solve the equation tonight. We only need to feel the motion. Drift along the filaments now. Slide along the magnetic field lines like a tram moving effortlessly on a track. You are traveling from one galaxy to another, crossing the bridges of dark matter. It is a smooth ride. There is no friction here. See the galaxies spinning in the distance, like pinwheels in a gentle breeze. They turn slowly, majestically, without effort. They do not struggle to spin. They simply allow the angular momentum to carry them. You can do the same. You do not need to struggle to sleep. You do not need to force your mind to shut down. You simply need to let go of the friction. Let the momentum of the night carry you. The web catches you. The net holds you. You are part of the coordinated spin. You are part of the great magnetic dream of the cosmos. And as we drift further along these neural pathways, we begin to approach a specific region of the sky. We are moving toward the Orion Nebula, where the fog is thick and beautiful. We are going to find the wanderers, the planets that have decided to leave their stars behind and travel the web on their own terms. We leave the grand spinning highways of the cosmic web now. We are drifting closer to home, though still far beyond the reach of our own sun. We are approaching one of the most beautiful places in the night sky, the Orion Nebula. To the ancient astronomers, this was the sword of the hunter. To the modern eye, it is a nursery, a vast glowing cloud of dust and gas where thousands of new stars are being born. The James Webb Telescope turns its golden mirrors toward this curtain of mist. It peers through the thick veils of gas that blocked the vision of telescopes before it. And inside this trapezium cluster, floating silently in the foggy expanse, it finds a surprise. It finds the wanderers. For a long time, we believed that planets belonged to stars. We thought a planet was defined by its orbit around a sun, tethered by gravity, basking in the warmth of a parent star. We thought that to be a planet was to be a follower, but the telescope has found hundreds of worlds that break this rule. They are free-floating objects, roughly the size of Jupiter, drifting through the nebula without a star to call home. In the harsher language of science, these have been called orphaned worlds or rogue planets, names that imply loss or abandonment. They are described as having been ejected from their solar systems, cast out into the eternal night. But tonight, let us rewrite their story. Let us call them the independent travelers. They are not lost, they are simply untethered. They have slipped the bonds of their parent stars to sail the open ocean of the galaxy on their own terms. But the most beautiful discovery is not that they are alone. It is that they are together. As the telescope looked closer at these wandering Jupiters, it noticed something that defied the lonely narrative. Many of these planets are traveling in pairs. They are orbiting each other. Imagine two giant worlds, gas giants with swirling clouds and storms, locked in a gentle gravitational embrace, moving through the mist side by side. Astronomers have given them a delightful name. JWST. It stands for Jupiter Mass Binary Objects. It is a soft, rounded word for such massive entities. These binaries are separated by vast distances, sometimes 25 times the distance between Earth and the Sun, sometimes much further. They do not crowd each other. They give each other space, yet they are bound together. They revolve around a central point of gravity that lies in the empty space between them. They are dancing a slow waltz in the dark, with no audience but the nebula itself. This discovery challenges everything we thought we knew about how planets form. Standard theories say planets form in the dusty disks around young stars and stay there. To have so many pairs of planets ejected simultaneously, managing to hold on to each other while being kicked out of a solar system, seems incredibly unlikely. It suggests a different origin. Perhaps they formed like stars, collapsing directly from small clouds of gas, but simply never gathered enough mass to ignite. Think of them as quiet stars. They are failed stars only in the sense that they do not burn with nuclear fire, but they have succeeded in finding peace. They emit a faint glow from their own internal heat, a warmth generated by their formation and the tidal forces of their dance. They are warm enough to glow in the infrared, shining like dim lanterns in the fog, and they are singing to each other. The telescope, along with radio observatories, detected something unexpected coming from these pairs. They are emitting radio signals. These are not the random static of space. They are distinct patterns, some steady, some bursting. In the scientific reports, these signals were called puzzling, or even sun-settling, because planets shouldn't be broadcasting like this. But in our journey tonight, let us hear these signals as a lullaby. The radio waves are likely created by the magnetic fields of the two planets interacting. As they orbit, their magnetic fields brush against each other, creating invisible sparks, generating electrical currents that flow through the space between them. It is a form of communication. It is a magnetic hum, a song of presence. One planet says, "I am here," and the other replies, "I am still with you." This changes the feeling of the deep void, doesn't it? We often fear the darkness of space because we equate it with isolation. We imagine that without a sun, a world must be dead and silent. But the JWST tell us that the darkness is filled with relationships. Even in the spaces between the stars, there is connection. There is gravity holding things together. There is a dialogue of radio waves. Visualize the Orion Nebula now. It is not black. It is a landscape of soft hues, dusty pinks, deep violets, and charcoal grays. It looks like a cavern of clouds, and floating through this cavern are these pairs of travelers. They move slowly. Their years are long. They are in no rush to get anywhere. They have no orbit to complete, no year to finish, no seasons to endure. They exist in a permanent state of twilight. Imagine standing on the surface of one of these JWST, or rather floating in its upper atmosphere, since there is no solid ground. You would look up and see no sun. The sky would be a perfect, unpolluted tapestry of stars, and hanging there, bright and steady, would be your partner planet. It would be the moon and the sun combined, a constant companion in the sky, glowing with a dull ruby light. There is a profound freedom in this existence. On Earth, our lives are dictated by the sun. We wake when it rises, we sleep when it sets. We plant by the seasons, we age by the years. We are bound to the cycle of the star. But the JWST are free from this cycle. They define their own time. They create their own rhythm. Perhaps this is why they help us relax. They remind us that it is okay to step out of the orbit of expectation. It is okay to not follow the path that everyone else is following. You do not always need to be circling a center, a job, a role, an ambition to be valid. You can simply drift. You can be a wanderer. And even if you wander, you do not have to be alone. You can find a companion, a fellow traveler, and make your own way through the mist. The scientists worry about the rogue nature of these worlds. They worry about the chaotic interactions that must have birthed them. But nature is rarely wasteful. If hundreds of these worlds exist in just one nebula, then they are not accidents. They are a feature of the universe. They are meant to be there. Maybe the universe loves the darkness just as much as it loves the light. Maybe it wanted to create places where there was no blinding glare, only soft warmth and magnetic songs. Drift with them for a moment. Feel the weightlessness of being untethered. There is no gravity pulling you toward a demanding center. There is only the gentle lateral pull of your partner. You are spinning slowly, wrapped in a blanket of hydrogen and helium. The radio song is a soft buzz in the background, like the sound of crickets on a summer night, or the hum of a fan in a quiet room. The signal goes out. The signal returns. It is a heartbeat shared across millions of miles. The Orion Nebula fades slowly behind us. The pink mist thins out. We leave the wanderer lesson with us, that you are whole even when you are drifting. You are complete even without a sun. We are now moving toward a different kind of world. We are leaving the gas giants behind and approaching something rocky, something hot, yet possessing a beauty that challenges our understanding of what is possible. We are going to visit a world of extremes, where the weather is a dream of metal. We have drifted through the cold silence of the deep web, and we have floated with the lonely wanderers in the mist. Now, the telescope turns its golden mirrors toward a source of intense heat. We are approaching a star system not too far from us to visit a world that challenges our understanding of what a planet can be. This is 55 Cancria. In the headlines, it is often called a hell planet because it orbits so close to its star that a year lasts only 18 hours. But let us look past the fear of the fire. Let us see it as the telescope sees it, as a world of molten gold. It is a jewel hanging in the glare of its sun, a place of profound transformation where the solid ground itself becomes a flowing river. This means one side always faces the star, bathed in eternal scorching daylight, while the other side is turned forever toward the frozen dark. It is a world of perfect duality. But James Webb discovered something that should not be there. By all logic, the heat should have stripped this world bare, leaving it as a dry, airless rock like Mercury. Yet, the infrared sensors detected a blanket. There is an atmosphere here. It is thick, rich in carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide, wrapping around the planet like a heavy quilt. This atmosphere is doing something miraculous. It is moving the heat. It is a global conveyor belt, carrying the warmth from the day side to the night side, softening the edge between the light and the dark. Imagine the weather on such a world. On Earth, we have the water cycle. Ocean water evaporates into mist, forms clouds, and falls as rain. On 55 Cancria, the heat is so intense that the rocks themselves join this cycle. The surface is a vast ocean of magma. The water here is liquid lava, and when the sun beats down on this magma ocean, the rock does not just melt, it evaporates. It turns into rock vapor. Close your eyes and try to visualize this. It is not a violent explosion, but a slow, majestic rising. Mineral mist rises from the golden lava, forming clouds not of water, but of vaporized stone. These clouds are heavy. They are carried by supersonic winds that sweep around the planet, moving from the hot noon to the cool midnight. And what happens when these clouds reach the night side? They cool down. The rock vapor condenses. It turns back into liquid. And so, on the dark side of this world, it rains, but it rains lava. It is a mineral rain. Imagine the sound of that rain. Heavy, thick droplets of molten silicate falling from the sky, splashing into the cooling lakes of magma below. It is a deep, rhythmic drumming, the sound of the planet remaking itself, over and over again. It is a distillation process on a planetary scale. The planet is boiling its own skin and letting it fall back down as fresh new stone. There is a strange comfort in this intensity. It reminds us that nature is a cycle of recycling. Nothing is ever lost. It just changes form. Rock becomes air, air becomes rain, rain becomes rock. The universe is a great alchemist, constantly stirring the pot, turning matter into energy and back again. Even in this extreme heat, there is a system. There is an order. Now, let us leave the heat of the star behind and travel back into the darkness to find another weather system, one that is even more surreal. We are looking for an object with the complicated name of SIMP 0136. This is a rogue world, drifting freely without a star. It glows only with its own internal warmth, a faint, maroon ember in the blackness. And because it is far from any sun, you might expect it to be a dead, static world. But the telescope found that it has a weather system as complex as Jupiter's, but made of materials that would seem like a fantasy on Earth. The atmosphere of this world is described as a layer cake of clouds. But these are not clouds of water vapor. Deep down, near the surface, there are thick banks of iron clouds. Yes, iron. The metal that we use to build bridges and skyscrapers is on this world a vapor that floats in the sky. And higher up, above the iron layer, are clouds made of silicates, specifically a mineral called forsterite, which is rich in magnesium. On Earth, we find forsterite in beautiful green crystals like peridot. On this wandering world, these crystals are ground into fine dust, suspended in the upper atmosphere, swirling in great glittering storms. So, imagine the weather report for SIMP 0136. Tonight, we expect heavy iron fog in the lower valleys, clearing to reveal shimmering crystal clouds in the upper atmosphere. And when it storms here, it rains liquid iron. Listen to the imaginary sound of that rain. It is not the soft patter of water. It is a metallic chiming. Clink, clink, hiss, tiny droplets of molten iron falling through the sky, cooling as they fall, perhaps turning into small pellets of metal before they hit the depths below. It is a lullaby of heavy metal, a soothing, repetitive industrial hum that echoes through the lonely atmosphere. These clouds are patchy. They break apart and reform, driven by the planet's rotation. As the planet spins, the iron clouds dance with the magnesium clouds, creating patterns of silver and green in the dark. And high above this metallic weather, there is a light show. The telescope detected hotspots in the upper atmosphere. This rogue planet has an incredibly powerful magnetic field, far stronger than Jupiter's or Earth's. This magnetic field acts like a shield and a net, catching charged particles from interstellar space. When these particles hit the atmosphere, they create radio auroras. Imagine the northern lights, but intensified. Great curtains of glowing neon light, purples, greens, and blues, rippling across the top of the world. But instead of silence, these auroras sing. They emit powerful radio waves, the radio auroras that scream, or rather hum, into the void. So here sits this lonely, wandering world. It has no sun to light its day, but it does not need one. It has its own internal heat to melt iron into clouds. It has its own magnetic field to paint the sky with auroras. It is a self-contained beauty. It carries its own storm, its own rain, and its own light wherever it goes. It teaches us that you do not need an external source to be vibrant. You can generate your own atmosphere. You can weather your own storms. The iron rain may sound heavy, but to the planet, it is just water. It is just part of the flow. As we drift away from these worlds of heavy weather, let the sensation of weight remain with you. But in a good way. Feel the weight of the blankets on your body. Imagine they are layers of a protective atmosphere. Layer 1, the warmth of the iron clouds, grounding you. Layer 2, the shimmer of the magnesium clouds, soothing your mind. Layer 3, the glow of the auroras, watching over your dreams. You are safe from the storm. You are merely observing it from the quiet deck of the telescope. The metal rain cannot touch you. It only sings to you from a distance. The universe is vast enough to hold worlds of water and worlds of iron. And now, we are going to look for something even more delicate. We are going to leave the heavy elements behind and look for the signature of life itself. We are going to search for the chemistry of creation in the thin air of distant suns. We leave the heavy, metallic storms of the rogue worlds behind us. The iron rain fades into silence, and the magnetic hum of the auroras drifts away. Now, the telescope adjusts its focus. It stops looking at the grand shapes of galaxies and starts looking at the invisible details. It stops looking at the body of the universe and begins to examine its breath. This is the magic of spectroscopy. It is perhaps the most gentle power the James Webb Telescope possesses. It does not just take pictures, it captures light and passes it through a prism, breaking it open like a geode to reveal the colors hidden inside. Every element in the universe, hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, gold, has a favorite color, a specific wavelength of light that it absorbs or emits. It is a unique fingerprint. It is a cosmic barcode. When the telescope reads this light, it is reading the recipe of the stars. Tonight, we are floating toward a stellar nursery known as NGC 6357, often called the Lobster Nebula. It is a vast, chaotic cloud of gas where new solar systems are being assembled. We are looking for the ingredients of life. We are looking for water. On Earth, water is everything. It is the cradle of biology, the blue blood of our planet. We have always assumed that wherever rocky planets form, water must be there, waiting to fill the oceans. It seemed like a universal rule. But the telescope has looked into the planet-forming disk of a star named XUE-1, and it found a surprise. It found a dry garden. The astronomers expected to see the familiar, soothing signature of water vapor and ice. Instead, They found a disk dominated by carbon dioxide. The water was scarce, barely a whisper in the data. In the dramatic language of scientific news, this was called a shattering of assumptions. They feared that the intense ultraviolet radiation from massive nearby stars had stripped the water away, leaving the young planets parched and sterile. But let us reframe this dryness tonight. Let us not see it as a failure, but as a different kind of beauty. The universe is not a factory that produces only one type of world. It is an artist's studio, and not every painting requires the color blue. Imagine standing on a world forming in this carbon-rich system. It would not have the blue oceans of Earth. It might have oceans of heavier fluids, or vast plains of dry ice, frozen carbon dioxide, sublimating into a thick white mist. It would be a carbon world. Since carbon is the element of diamonds, perhaps the deep pressures of such a planet would create continents of crystalline foundations. It would be a world of smoke and diamond, stark and glittering under a young sun. The telescope sees this carbon dioxide dust coating the planetary seeds. It suggests that there are entire classes of planets out there that are chemically alien to us. They are not wrong. They are just other. They are variations on a theme. The universe is experimenting with dry recipes, creating worlds where the geology and the atmosphere operate by rules we have never encountered. There is a peace in accepting this diversity. We often look for ourselves in the stars. We look for Earth-like planets, water-like oceans, and sun-like stars. We want the universe to be a mirror, but James Webb teaches us that the universe is a stained glass window, full of different colors and textures. The dry worlds have their own quiet dignity. They are the deserts of the cosmos, vast and preserved in their aridity. But the telescope's chemical journey does not stop at dry planets. It looks even further back in time, to the very first generations of stars. And here, it finds a chemical miracle. We used to believe that the early universe was chemically boring, just hydrogen and helium, the simplest gases. We thought it took billions of years for stars to cook up the heavy elements like oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon, the stuff that makes up your body. We thought the spice of the universe was added very slowly. But Webb peered into galaxies that existed when the universe was just a toddler, less than 1 billion years old, and it found them teeming with heavy elements. It found oxygen. It found carbon. It found the building blocks of life appearing much, much earlier than anyone predicted. Think of what this means. The universe did not wait. It did not hold back. It was eager to create complexity. The first stars were likely monsters, giant, passionate furnaces that burned through their fuel in a flash and exploded, scattering these precious elements across the void. They were the cosmic chefs, chopping the herbs and spices at high speed, rushing to season the galaxy. This phenomenon, called rapid metallicity evolution, is a gift. It means that the ingredients for rocky planets, and perhaps for life itself, were available almost from the start. The universe has been ready for complexity for a very long time. It has been ready for you for a very long time. Contemplate your own body as you lie here. You are made of these elements, the carbon in your cells, the oxygen in your lungs, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones. You are a collection of ancient stardust. When the telescope looks at that distant galaxy GS Zone 3, 0, or JWST 131 as noted in the data, and sees the glow of oxygen, it is seeing your ancestors. It is seeing the forge where the atoms of your hand were created. The connection is unbroken. The light travels from there to the mirror, and the understanding travels from the mirror to your mind. The impossible chemistry that scientists worry about is simply the universe's way of saying it is more capable than we thought. It is more fertile. It does not need billions of years to get in the dry carbon worlds. It might smell like crisp, cold air and charcoal. In the stellar nurseries, it might smell like sweet rum and raspberries, a chemical called ethyl formate found in space. In the iron rain worlds, it might smell like ozone and welding sparks. It is a symphony of scents, a vast chemical garden growing in the dark. We are not just observers of this chemistry. We are the result of it. We are the universe waking up and tasting itself. We are the carbon worlds that learnt to dream. So, do not fear the dry planets or the strange elements. They are just different rooms in the same house. The water will be found elsewhere. The carbon is here. The oxygen is there. Everything is mixing, swirling, and combining in the slow churn of the galactic year. As we drift away from the chemical clouds of NGC 6357, let the idea of complexity soothe you. You are a complex being, made of stardust and stories, and you fit perfectly into this complex universe. We are now preparing to leave the nebulas behind. We have seen the birth of elements, and we have seen the strange weather of planets. Now, we are going to receive a visitor. We are going to turn our attention to an object that has traveled a very long way, from a very different time, to pass through our own solar system. A messenger from the ancient past is waiting. The telescope has shown us the distant fires of the early universe and the strange, metallic weather of wandering planets. But now it detects movement much closer to home. We are turning our gaze inward, back toward our own solar system. But we are not looking at the familiar face of Mars or the rings of Saturn. We are looking at a shadow that is passing through. We are looking at a visitor. Usually, the comets we see are like old friends. They belong to our sun. They live in the Oort cloud, a vast icy shell that surrounds our solar system, and occasionally they drop in to say hello. Swinging around the sun before returning to the outer dark, they are family. But the object the James Webb Telescope is tracking now is different. It does not belong to us. It is merely passing through. Its name is Comet 3 I Atlas. To the casual observer, it might look like just another streak of light, a ball of ice and rock about 7 miles wide. But when the telescope analyzed its trajectory, it realized the truth. This object is traveling too fast, and its path is too straight. It is not orbiting our sun. It is piercing through the plane of our solar system like a needle through fabric. It is an interstellar object, a traveler from the space between the stars. But the most profound revelation is not where it came from, but when it came from. The data tells us that this comet is approximately 7 billion years old. Pause for a moment to feel the weight of that number. Our solar system, the sun, the earth, the moon, and everything we have ever known, is only about 4.5 billion years old. This visitor is older than our home. It is older than the light of our sun. It is a relic from a time before we existed. It is a time capsule frozen in ice. It was born in a different part of the galaxy, perhaps in the thick disk of the Milky Way, a region crowded with ancient stars. It formed around a star that lived its life and died long before humanity took its first breath. Imagine the history locked inside this silent stone. 7 billion years ago, in a stellar nursery far away, it coalesced from the dust. It witnessed the birth of its own solar system. It may have seen planets form that are now long gone. And then, something happened. Perhaps a giant planet swung too close, or perhaps its parent star exploded in a supernova, gently pushing it out of its cradle. And so, its great journey began. For 3 billion years, it drifted alone through the interstellar night. It traveled through the silence between the stars, a voyage so long that civilizations could rise and fall 1,000 times in the blink of an eye. It moved through the cold, preserving its secrets, untouched by warmth, untouched by light. James Webb peered into the coma, the cloud of gas that surrounds the comet as it warms up near our sun, and again it found that strange, ancient chemistry. Unlike the comets of our own solar system, which breathe out mostly water vapor, this ancient visitor breathes out carbon dioxide. It is a dry comet. It carries the chemical signature of that ancient carbon-rich epoch we saw in the previous chapter. It is a physical piece of the carbon world's narrative, arriving at our doorstep to confirm the story. There is a deep romance in this encounter. We often think of our solar system as a closed room, a private island in the universe. But Comet 3 I Atlas reminds us that we are part of a busy galactic neighborhood. The doors are open. The galaxy flows through us. This visitor is traveling at over 130,000 miles per hour. That sounds fast, but in the scale of the cosmos, it is a smooth, gliding motion. It treats our solar system not as a destination, but as just another mile marker on its infinite road. It does not care about our gravity. It follows the gravity of the galaxy itself. Think of it as a galactic pilgrim. It carries no weapon, no message, no threat. It simply carries its own existence. It is a messenger from the Wild West days of the Milky Way, a time when star formation was higher and the galaxy was a more chaotic, vibrant place. It brings the memory of that chaos into our quiet, ordered present. The scientists ask disturbing questions about how many of these objects are out there. They suggest the sky might be full of them, unseen and uncounted. But let us find comfort in this crowd. It means the space between stars is not empty. It is a highway of history. At any given moment, there are dozens, perhaps hundreds, of these silent ships crossing our system, threading the needle between the planets. They are the archaeological artifacts of the stars, just as we find arrowheads or pottery shards buried in the earth that tell us about ancient human history. These comets are the shards of ancient star systems, drifting through the vacuum to tell us about galactic history. They prove that nothing is ever truly destroyed. Solar systems may die, stars may fade, but their pieces survive. They become travelers. They become storytellers. As you lie there, imagine this comet passing by. It is swift, but silent. It leaves no wake, makes no sound. It glides past Mars, past Earth, past Jupiter. It dips its wing to the sun, warming up just enough to release a sigh of carbon dioxide. And then it heads back out. It is leaving us. It will never return. Its trajectory is a hyperbola, an open curve that leads back into the deep dark. We are just a brief moment in its 7 billion year life. We are a wayside station where it warmed its hands by the fire before stepping back into the winter night. There is a lesson in letting go here. The comet does not cling to the sun. It does not try to stay in the warmth. It accepts its journey. It accepts the cold. It trusts the momentum that carries it. You too are a traveler. Your thoughts come and go like comets. Some belong to you, orbiting your mind like loyal planets. But some are just visitors. Ancient worries, old memories, strange dreams that drift in from the dark. You do not need to capture them. You do not need to analyze their trajectory or fear their origin. You can simply watch them pass. Let them glide by. Let them warm up for a moment, release their steam, and fade away. You are the observer. You are the steady point. The comet reminds us of our ultimate fate, but in a gentle way. One day, billions of years from now, when our own sun changes, pieces of our Earth, pieces of our history, might be ejected too. We might become the visitors. Our atoms, our rocks, our water might become the comets that puzzle astronomers in a distant galaxy. We will become the messengers. We will become the ancient ones, traveling through the future night. It is a beautiful cycle. We receive the past. We become the future. We are part of the great circulation of the Milky Way. The tail of Comet 3I Atlas is fading now. It is crossing the orbit of Neptune, heading back into the interstellar void. The frozen time capsule seals itself up again. The silence returns. But now that we have seen the visitor from the galactic center, we feel a pull to follow it back to its source. The comet came from the thick disk, the crowded downtown of the galaxy. Let us turn the James Webb Telescope in that direction. Let us look past the dust, past the star clusters, to the very heart of the Milky Way. There, sitting in the center of everything, is the conductor of this great orchestra. It is not a static object. It is alive with a rhythm. It has a heartbeat. We have followed the path of the ancient comet, tracing its trajectory back through the spiral arms of the Milky Way. We are leaving the quiet suburbs of the solar system and moving downtown. We are traveling toward the brightest, densest, and most mysterious region of our galactic home, the galactic center. Here, the stars are not scattered and lonely. They are crowded together, glowing like a field of fireflies in a jar. The dust is thick here, a curtain of velvet that hides the center from visible eyes. But the James Webb Telescope does not see dust. It sees heat. It glides through the veil, peering past the millions of stars, past the swirling clouds of gas, until it reaches the very pivot point of our existence. We have arrived at Sagittarius A. It is a name that sounds scientific, but tonight, let us call it the Great Anchor. It is a supermassive black hole, containing the mass of 4 million suns compressed into a single silent point. For decades, astronomers thought of this place as a dark, sleeping monster, a static object that simply sat there, heavy and motionless, while the galaxy spun around it. But when James Webb turned its golden gaze toward the center, monitoring it for hours at a time, it found that the anchor is not static. It is alive. It is pulsing. The telescope discovered that the black hole emits a light that constantly changes, a brightness that bubbles and fluctuates. The scientists analyzed these patterns, looking for a steady rhythm, like the ticking of a clock. But they found no pattern. The flares and dims were irregular, chaotic, and unpredictable. In the headlines, this was described as disturbing or bizarre, suggesting unknown physics at play. But in the language of sleep, an irregular rhythm is not a sign of chaos. It is a sign of life. Think of your own heart. When you are awake and running, your heart beats with a steady, driving metronome. But when you are asleep, when you are dreaming, your heart rate varies. It speeds up as you dream of flying. It slows down as you drift into the deep. It ebbs and flows like the tide. Sagittarius A is not a machine. It is the dreaming heart of the Milky Way. The telescope sees the accretion disk, the ring of gas and dust spiraling around the black hole, as a simmering cauldron of light. It glows in the infrared, warm and fluctuating. Every now and then a sudden flare erupts, a burst of radiation that lights up the surrounding darkness before fading back down. These flares are described by researchers as cosmic lightning, occurring within the swirling gas. Imagine that, a thunderstorm at the center of the galaxy. But this is not a storm of rain. It is a storm of magnetic energy. As the gas spirals closer to the event horizon, the magnetic fields twist and snap, releasing flashes of brilliance. It is the universe releasing tension. It is a cosmic sigh. There is a profound beauty in this irregularity. If the center of our galaxy were a perfect ticking clock, it would feel mechanical. It would feel cold. But a pulsing, fluctuating center feels organic. It suggests that the galaxy is a living entity, and we are just cells circulating within its body. Darker, the telescope watches as matter crosses the photon sphere, the boundary where gravity is so strong that light itself is forced to orbit in circles. This is the edge of the known world. Beyond this point, space and time soften and merge. The laws of physics that govern our daily lives, the rigid rules of cause and effect, begin to melt away. Some theories suggest that these fluctuations are caused by quantum effects, the foam of reality bubbling up to the surface. It is as if the fabric of space-time is breathing. The event horizon is not a hard wall. It is a shimmering threshold, a beach where the ocean of gravity meets the sands of time. Why does this heartbeat matter to us? Because we are connected to it. Even though we are 26,000 light-years away, we are in orbit around this pulse. Our sun, our Earth, and you, lying in your bed right now, are moving in a vast circle around Sagittarius A. It takes us roughly 230 million years to complete one orbit, a galactic year. The last time we were in this position, dinosaurs were just beginning to walk the Earth. The heartbeat of the black hole is the drum that sets the tempo for this long, slow journey. Feel that rhythm now. It is a slow rhythm. Flux and fade, flare and dim, inhale and exhale. The irregularity is comforting because it mirrors the nature of existence. Life is not a straight line. It is not a perfect metronome. It has bursts of energy and moments of quiet. It has days of brightness and nights of rest. The galaxy understands this. The great anchor understands this. The scientists worry that the black hole might be destroying information or violating the rules of quantum mechanics. But in the dream logic of AstroSleep, nothing is destroyed. It is simply folded in. The matter that falls into the black hole is not lost. It is embraced. It returns to the source. It becomes part of the heavy singularity that holds us all together. Imagine the view from a safe distance, floating in the infrared glow. You see the center of the galaxy not as a dark pit, but as a warm golden hearth. The embers are popping and crackling. It is the campfire around which the entire galaxy gathers to warm its hands. The bubbles of brightness are like thoughts rising in the mind of the cosmos. They appear, they shine, and they dissolve. You do not need to hold on to them. You do not need to predict the next flare. You only need to know that the fire is burning. The heart is beating. As you lie here, sync your own breathing with this image. Imagine that with every inhale, the accretion disk brightens slightly. With every exhale, It dims and settles. You are breathing with the galaxy. You are resonant with the core. The immense gravity of Sagittarius A is not pulling you in to crush you. It is pulling you in to ground you. It provides the center point so that you do not fly off into the intergalactic void. It is the reason we are here. It is the reason the sun stays in its lane. It is the reason the night sky has a shape. This constant flux is the signature of a universe that is still active, still evolving. It is not a dead relic. It is awake in its own way, watching over the spiral arms. Let the image of the cosmic lightning fade gently. The flashes soften into a steady, warm glow. We are drifting away from the center now, riding the gravity waves back out toward the edges. We have felt the heartbeat, and it is strong. It is steady enough to hold us for another billion years. But as we leave the center, we notice something happening to the light around us. The gravity of the black hole and the massive galaxies nearby is doing something strange to the starlight. It is bending it. It is twisting it like water. We are about to enter a hall of mirrors. We are about to witness the time warp. We drift away from the pulsing heart of the galaxy, riding the gentle currents of gravity back out into the open void. But as we look through the golden mirrors of the James Webb Telescope, we notice that the view is changing. The stars are no longer perfect points of light. The galaxies are no longer simple spirals or ellipses. The universe is beginning to shimmer. We are entering a region of strong gravity. Here, the mass of huge galaxy clusters is so immense that it does something magical to the fabric of space. It bends it. Imagine a clear stream of water flowing over a smooth stone. The water curves around the stone, distorting the view of the pebbles on the bottom. Space acts in exactly the same way. When light travels past a massive object, it does not move in a straight line. It flows. It curves. It follows the shape of the space, wrapping around the obstacle like a ribbon in the wind. This is called gravitational lensing. It is the universe acting as a giant magnifying glass. And tonight the telescope has found a galaxy that demonstrates this beauty in the most profound way. Deep in the distance, behind a massive cluster of dark matter, lies a single galaxy. But the telescope does not see one image of it. It sees 4, or perhaps 5, or an entire ring of light known as an Einstein ring. The gravity of the foreground cluster has bent the light from the background galaxy so severely that it has split the image into multiple copies. It is a hall of mirrors in the deep dark. But unlike a mirror on a wall, these reflections are not happening at the same time. This is where the true wonder begins. Because the light has to travel along different curved paths to reach us, some paths longer, some shorter, the images arrive at different times. We are looking at the same galaxy, but we are seeing it at different moments in its life, all at once. In the top image, we might see the galaxy as it was 800 million years ago. It is young, bright, and bursting with new stars. In the bottom image, the light took a longer path, a detour through the curves of space-time. So there, we see the galaxy as it was 1 billion years ago, even younger, perhaps just forming said, "No more stars today. The galaxy is full enough." It regulated the growth. It protected the galaxy from the chaos of overproduction. It sang a lullaby of heat that put the stellar nurseries to sleep. The telescope sees these galaxies as dormant. Dormancy is not death. Trees go dormant in the winter. They pull their energy inward. They stop growing leaves and focus on maintaining their roots. These galaxies are in a great cosmic winter. They are preserving what they have. They are drifting through the void like great silent ships with their engines cut, carried only by the momentum of the expanding universe. And they are massive. They are not small, failed experiments. They are some of the most massive structures in the early universe. They prove that you can be great and still be quiet. You can be significant and still be still. As you lie here, listening to the silence of your own room, connect with these sleeping beauties. Perhaps you feel the pressure of your own life, the need to do more, to achieve more, to be active like the blue, frantic galaxies. But look at the wisdom of the ancient red ones. There is a time to build, and there is a time to stop. There is a time to shine brightly, and there is a time to glow softly. The sleeping beauties have been resting for 13 billion years. They have watched the rest of the universe change. They have seen other galaxies collide and merge. They have seen clusters form. And through it all, they have maintained their silence. They are the monks of the cosmos, meditating on the nature of existence. The mystery of their shutdown is a problem only for those who think the purpose of the universe is constant noise. For the James Webb Telescope, seeing them is like finding a quiet library in the middle of a busy city. It is a place to rest the eyes. Visualize the shape of one of these galaxies. It is likely an elliptical galaxy. A smooth, rounded shape like an egg or a sphere. It does not have the sharp, twisting arms of a spiral. It is soft. It is cloud-like. It has no sharp edges. It is a pillow of stars. Float into that pillow. Imagine the space inside a sleeping beauty galaxy. It is clearer than other places. The fog of star formation has lifted. The dust has settled. The view is unobstructed. It is a place of clarity. The active galactic nucleus feedback has cleared the air. The gas depletion has removed the clutter. What is left is pure starlight, unencumbered by the mess of birth. It reminds us of the sleeping beauty fairy tale mentioned in the data. The princess falls into an enchanted sleep, and the castle grows quiet around her. The thorns grow up to protect her. In the cosmic version, the vast distances of space are the thorns. They protect these silent kingdoms from disturbance. They are time capsules, preserving the memory of the early universe in a state of suspended animation. You are allowed to be a sleeping beauty tonight. You are allowed to shut down your own star formation. You do not need to generate any new thoughts right now. You do not need to create any new plans. You have done enough. Your galaxy is built. Your structure is sound. You can simply exist. You can simply glow. The telescope moves on, respecting their slumber. We do not want to wake them. We simply acknowledge their presence. We nod to them in the dark, thanking them for showing us that rest is a natural law of physics. And now, we turn our golden eyes toward the final mystery. We have traveled from the cold of L2, past the red dots, through the cosmic web, and into the silent galaxies. Now we look at the canvas as a whole, We look at the very fabric of space and time, and we find that it is stretching, it is pulling apart, but it is not pulling apart in fear. It is expanding in potential. We are ready to confront the infinite mystery. We are ready to look at the Hubble tension not as a crisis, but as an open door. We have reached the end of our visual journey. We have looked at the ice, the fire, the metal rain, and the sleeping galaxies. Now, the telescope lifts its eyes from the objects in the universe to look at the universe itself. It looks at the container, it looks at the fabric, and here, at the very edge of our understanding, it finds the greatest mystery of all. Scientists call it the Hubble tension. It sounds like a problem, a knot that needs to be untied. In the breathless headlines of the day, it is often called a crisis in cosmology. They say the measurements are clashing, that the models are broken, that the universe is misbehaving. But tonight, let us call it the cosmic breath. Here is the mystery. The universe is expanding. We have known this for a long time. It is getting bigger every second, stretching out in all directions, like a balloon being gently inflated. But when the James Webb Telescope measures how fast this expansion is happening, it finds something strange. When we look at the early universe, the faint, ancient light from the Big Bang known as the cosmic microwave background, we get one number. It tells us the universe is expanding at a certain, steady, predictable pace. It is the rhythm of the deep past, a slow, drum-like beat. But when we look at the modern universe, the nearby galaxies and the exploding stars called Cepheids, we get a completely different number. The nearby universe is expanding faster. It is accelerating. It is rushing away from us at a speed that does not match the prediction. The two numbers do not agree. There is a gap. There is a discrepancy. To a mathematician, this is an error. But to a dreamer, this is a harmony. Imagine an orchestra. The deep basses and the cellos are playing a slow, mournful rhythm. That is the ancient universe. But the violins and the flutes are playing a faster, soaring melody. That is the modern universe. They are playing at different tempos, and yet they are part of the same song. The Hubble tension is simply the complexity of the music. It is a polyrhythm. Why does this help us sleep? Because it tells us that the universe is not a rigid machine. In different places. Some theories suggest that we might be living inside a bubble of space that is relatively empty compared to the rest of the cosmos, allowing our local region to expand faster. Others suggest that dark energy, the mysterious force pushing the universe apart, is changing over time, becoming stronger as the universe ages. And there is the even stranger, more poetic possibility we touched upon earlier, that this expansion is actually an illusion caused by our position inside a much larger structure, perhaps a black hole in a higher dimension. If that were true, what we see as expansion is actually us falling deeper into the majestic embrace of a greater reality. Whatever the answer, the crisis is only a crisis of human ego. We want to know everything. We want the universe to fit into our textbooks. But the universe refuses. It smiles and says, "Not yet." James Webb has confirmed that the discrepancy is real. It has removed the doubt. It has shown us that the mystery is not a mistake in our telescopes. It is a feature of the world. There is a profound comfort in the unknown. If we knew everything, if every star was counted, every law of physics solved, every corner mapped, the universe might feel small. It might feel finished. It might feel like a cage. But a universe that breaks its own rules, a universe that expands faster than it should, that is a universe of infinite. It means the story is not over. Think of the expansion as a form of space, not outer space, but room. The gap between your slow days and your fast thoughts. The universe has this tension too. It is natural, it is structural. You do not need to close the gap tonight. You do not need to solve the discrepancy. You can exist in the tension. You can float in the space between the two numbers. The scientist Adam Rice said that we may have fundamentally misunderstood the universe. This is a beautiful admission. It is an act of humility. We are like children trying to measure the ocean with a teaspoon. The ocean is vast and the teaspoon is small. Let the Hubble tension release your own tension. If the laws of physics can relax, so can you. If the fabric of space-time can stretch, so can you. If the cosmos does not need to be consistent, neither do you. The James Webb Telescope has done its job. It has looked as deep as it can. It has collected the photons, counted the galaxies, and measured the expansion. And at the end of all that work, it has handed us a question, not an answer. And a question is the best pillow. A question allows the mind to wander. An answer is a period, a full stop. But a question is an ellipsis, a trailing off, a drifting into the dream. The universe is expanding. The bed you are lying in is on a planet, orbiting a star, in a galaxy that is drifting away from its neighbors. You are moving into the open. You are moving into the new. The crisis is fading. The terror mentioned in the news dissolves into awe. The universe breakers have become the universe makers. We are left with a sky that is dark, deep, and endlessly mysterious. We have traveled from the cold sanctuary of L2. We have seen the silver sunshield. We have seen the red rubies of the first black holes. We have seen the iron rain of the rogue worlds. We have seen the sleeping beauties resting in the void. And now we see the stretching fabric of the end. The journey of the mind is complete. The facts have been delivered, but they have been softened. They are no longer sharp shards of information. They are smooth stones in the river of sleep. The telescope continues to orbit. It continues to point its gold mirrors at the dark. It never blinks. It never sleeps. It does this so that you do not have to. It is the designated watcher. It is carrying the burden of curiosity for all of humanity tonight. You can let go. We are ready to leave the telescope now. We are ready to float back down, past the moon, past the clouds, back to the safety of your room. We are ready for the final tuck-in. Thank you for drifting through the galaxy with me tonight. We have traveled a very long way together. We have floated in the silent shadow of the sunshield, far beyond the reach of the Earth. We have peered through the golden mirrors into the deepest corridors of time. We have wandered among the red seeds of the early universe, felt the metallic rain of distant worlds, and drifted alongside the sleeping giants of the cosmos. And now it is time to return. Imagine that we are slowly pulling back. The James Webb Space Telescope remains where it is, parked in its quiet orbit at Lagrange Point 2. It does not need to come home. It is built for the dark. It is happy in the cold. Leave it there, spinning slowly, a silent sentinel watching over the night. It will continue to gather the light while you sleep. It will continue to solve the riddles while you dream. You do not need to hold the vigil any longer. Your watch is ended. As we drift back toward Earth, watch the great structure of the telescope become smaller in the distance. The sun shield shrinks to a silver diamond, then to a bright star, and finally, it disappears into the velvet black. We are leaving the realm of the infrared. We are leaving the heat of creation. We are floating back through the quiet emptiness of our own solar system. Past the silent storms of Jupiter, past the red dust of Mars, past the pale watchman of the moon. You are returning to your own gravity. You are returning to your own room. If these calm, curious explorations help you unwind, I invite you to like or subscribe. It helps other sleepy souls find their way here too. And now, let all of that drift away. Let the universe breakers dissolve. They are no longer massive galaxies. They are just dreams of light. Let the little red dots fade. They are no longer heavy anchors. They are just distant embers cooling in the night. Let the Hubble tension release its grip. The fact that the universe is stretching and changing is not a problem for you to solve tonight. It is simply a promise that there is always more space, always more room to breathe. Feel the comfort of your own smallness. We have seen how vast the cosmos is, how billions of years unfold like a single day, how galaxies dance in great slow circles. In the face of such immensity, your worries are incredibly small. They are microscopic. They cannot survive in the vacuum of space. Let them float away, detached from you, lost in the beautiful, indifferent void. You are safe here. The same gravity that holds the sleeping beauty galaxies in their slumber is the gravity that presses you gently into your mattress. The same chemistry that forged the oxygen in the ancient stars is the chemistry that allows you to take your next breath. You are not separate from the universe. You are the universe resting. You are the carbon world that has decided to close its eyes. Think of the sleeping beauties we visited, those massive galaxies that finished their work and went quiet. Be like them now. You have finished your work. You have built your day. You have shone your light. And now, you have the permission of the cosmos to go dormant. You have the right to shut down your star formation and simply exist in the quiet. Let your body become heavy. Let your feet turn to stone, warm and anchored. Let your hands turn to water, loose and flowing. Let your thoughts turn to mist, shapeless and drifting. There are no more questions. The crisis of cosmology is just a lullaby. The mystery is a soft blanket, resting in the knowledge that mystery itself is the only true answer. We do not need to know where the universe ends. We only need to know that it holds us. The golden eye is watching the dark, so you don't have to. The ancient visitor is sailing the void, so you can stay still. The heart of the galaxy is beating, so you can rest. Everything is in its place. The laws of physics are cradling you. The expansion of space is making room for your dreams. Close your eyes. Let the final image of the golden mirrors fade into black. Sink into the deep, infrared warmth of your own sleep. Rest and dream of a quiet, radiant sea of stars. Good night.